Hi everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. So today I'm back with another very important subject to discuss with each and everyone. And I have been getting a lot of queries from many of my channel partners regarding the way the market is going to move ahead, we are predicting about the market, which sectors is going to move in the first and then the others, how different sectors will be performing, and obviously about the markets. Now, before I begin, the first thing which I would like to say to everyone is this, that many of us have been comparing this current scenario with the last 2008 crisis, which was the global financial crisis. Now, with the global financial crisis which happened in 2008, we must try to understand that that was linked up completely with the developed economies. The Asian economy did not have much things to happen, but obviously it got affected. But major whatever stimulus packages and write-offs of the balance sheets and buying out of the debt and quantitative easing methods which were applied, they were mainly applied for the ones who were into the developed economies. So if I compare with the 2008 crisis and with the current scenario, obviously now the whole world is totally under a lockdown situation. Manufacturing has stopped at each and every corner. So whether it's a developed economy or whether it's an Asian economy, so the scenario is completely different. So it is not about that a particular segment of the economy or a particular segment of the world economy is affected. It's the whole economy which is affected currently at the present moment. So there's a stark difference between what has happened in GFC and what is happening right now. Because in GFC, we were able to manage it through doing quantitative easing, either through the matter of TARP, which was launched in 2009 by Barack Obama at that point of time. Then Europe also came up with these quantitative easing methods. But now the scenario is completely different. In the current scenario, we have been witnessing a supply chain logistic problem, which has totally cut off the supply of goods and services, whether it's an essential or a non-essential, or it's an industrial product or it's a non-industrial product. The entire supply chain has been impacted. And obviously the supply chain has been impacted for a long time, not only currently with the current lockdown, but the majority has happened when the yuan got its first coronavirus impact, and after that when yuan went for 6 weeks to 8 weeks of close down, the entire supply chain started getting disrupted from that point of time. Loss of goods, loss of profits, loss of revenue. These things have now become a very common part of us right now, and we are going through it. We are yet to realize how much depth is the loss right now. There have been a lot of reports in various segments which I have been going through, and we have been witnessing around a GDP fall down of 6%, 7%, 12%, 15%, with an unemployment rate breaking all-time high levels across the globe. So there are a lot of uncertainties which are currently ruling. So today we are going to get into the nitty-gritties of the subject line, which sectors, where we are expecting, with the recent fall down of the crude, what we are expecting from the crude market, what we are expecting from the Gulf market, what we are expecting from the US, Europe or China. So let me start first of all with the US economy. US economy, obviously it is having the highest number of COVID patients right now, and the numbers are just simply multiplying over there. It's a compounding effect which is happening out over there now. And obviously there is a big battle right now that when to start on the economy. They are in the discussion phase of starting the economy in a gradual manner. So obviously there are a lot of ifs and buts which are going in the minds of the political leaders across the globe. America has no left from that one. And secondly, America did not expect that it will have such a huge number of COVID patients and number of deaths will start happening up. It was not able to manage it. Very clearly, it speaks about like that. Now, whatever packages they have come up, they have already come up with a $4 trillion package, and the package is sufficient enough to buy out all debts and all type of toxic assets and all those things. More than that, they are planning to come up with another package right now for the oil companies which are lying in the Gulf of Mexico, because obviously they are bleeding like anything. They are bleeding cash. Oil prices have gone into a negative zone. Now, what we know currently is this, that there is excess storage and there's nobody to buy out the crude because there's no demand. That is one part of the story. Another part of the story is this, that obviously the OPEC war was going on between Russia and with the Saudi Arabia, and due to that, the production was not stopped. And now the world doesn't have got much space of having any crude storage. So now if the crude storage, if it doesn't have got a crude storage, then it is much easier to say the crude की production को फिर बंद कर देते हैं. No, you cannot say it in that way. The crude की production को हम लोग बंद कर दें, because crude production, starting down or closing down the crude production is a very cumbersome technical process. It's not an easy thing. ये दुकान नहीं है जिसको आज बोल दिया मैंने बंद कर दो तो बंद हो जाएगा. एक crude की plant को बंद करने के लिए it will take around 3 to 4 weeks. So that's a 1 month time frame. This month one way, within this time frame 1 month, there will be production which will be happening. So आपकी पूरी बंद नहीं हो सकती है. The second important thing is this, that obviously with this slowdown, the way the slowdown is going on, crude की demand इतनी जल्दी आएगी नहीं. It will not come up. It will take some time to get back into the pre-COVID phase. That is the most important thing now. Because now we are not going to compare with the GFC, with the global financial crisis which happened in 2008. We are simply going to do a comparison with pre-COVID and post-COVID. That is the simple thing which we are going to do the comparison. Now, when we are doing that comparison, obviously, trade war has left a lot of marks on many of the companies across the globe. US have been very much smart enough to buy out those toxic assets through its quantity easing methods, spending a lot of money into the system. So they have been able to do it. Now, the second thing is this, that okay, they have brought down the assets, but the most important thing is this, how you are going to start the economy. Now, one of the most important things we need to keep in mind is this, don't think that whatever stimulus package has come up right now across the globe, whether it's India, Europe, Australia, China, anyone across the G20 nations, there are more stimulus packages which are going to come. Because you don't know what is the depth of the slowdown. You don't know how many small and medium companies across the globe will be shut down completely, or who are completely out of the business, who will take 6 months or 1 year's time to get back its full staff into the system. So there are lots of uncertainties, there is no clarity, and no research report or any research analyst cannot predict or find it out what is the depth of the loss. Because that depth of the loss is now under a lockdown phase. The owner of the company only knows what is the depth. What is the depth of that crisis which has struck me due to the lockdown. So we should be expecting a lot of stimulus packages to come up now. We haven't done anything yet. 4 trillion has come up in US. There might be a few more trillions which will be come up. Fiscal deficit, current account deficit, every country is going to face a difficult phase through it. Unemployment, significant numbers are going to come up. Because obviously, few of the restaurants may not open. They might have gone out of the business. Many small and medium enterprises may be out of the business. Many startups might be out of the business. So there are a lot of things which is going to come up in real terms. Now, what we are actually now, all analysts or all research analysts or fund managers are doing is this, they are doing a predictive analytics thing. But when the predictive analytics is going to stop and when the real numbers are going to come, post the lockdown, then the tire meets the road. Then you come to know how things are moving ahead at that point of time. Demand of goods. Now, the demand of the goods across the globe, don't expect non-essential items demand to pick up so abruptly as compared to what is happening in the pre-COVID phase. So there will be a significant time has to be given for those demands to get back to that level. We will be finding some demand in the essential commodity segments, which will be day-to-day requirement, but not on the luxury items. Now, I have been hearing this thing that there's a difference of when we tell luxury items means that these items are mainly fitted for ultra HNI or HNI clients. Well, luxury item doesn't categorize in that way to a certain extent. In luxury items, can be treated as this. For example, my family was going into a restaurant pre-COVID phase, at a restaurant where the bill used to be around 3,000 or 4,000 rupees. Now, post-COVID, I might take my family to a restaurant where I will have a billing of 1,500 to 2,000 rupees. So there's a cut down on the consumption. There's a planned budgeting, planned cut down, which is going to impact the company earnings, the market, the economy. The US is, to a certain extent, is well protected because it has got a lot of cash, it has got a lot of treasury, it holds one of the highest amount of gold in its vault, so it can manage it. Now let's come to the Europe. Europe economy is going to be in a very tough critical phase because Europe is one of the destinations where it is famous for tourism also. Now with Italy, Spain, France and all those things, tourism business revenue is going to be negligible for them, at least for the next 6 to 9 months, because people will be very skeptical traveling to that country. That may not pick up as to the pre-COVID phase. Apart from that one, there's a Brexit which has happened. There were new regulations which were yet to be framed for that one, which were in the half-hearted way which has been done, and they are also halfway, not fully done. Then you have got a lot of packages which has come up from the Europe are not sufficient enough, because in that economy has been going through a lot of problem even after the 2008 crisis. We know the story of Greece, we know the story of Athens, we know the story of austerity measures, we know the story of unemployment, which were hovering around 27, 28%, 30% in Spain, France, many of the nations in Euro nations. Currently there are 26 Euro nations right now, Euro countries which make this segment actually. So there has been a considerable slowdown of economic growth. You will find it out in Europe as compared to the US. Now let's come to another country which I will move it out is China. Well, China has been very smart and tricky. When the world economy ignored the China matter, China shut down its production, created a gap of demand, created a gap of supply, the demand went up, it created the vacuum of the supply, and by the time China was able to manage the coronavirus and it came out, the world economy, the rest of the world economy went into the coronavirus phase. Now by the time when we are facing with the lockdown phase, they are busy in their productions and they are just busy in stockpiling their logistics. So now when the demand is going to open up, the demand is already in place, it has actually amplified now. So when the lockdown is going to open across the globe, these supply of goods and services cannot be ignored, because I don't know whether my domestic manufacturing company will be in a condition to produce those goods or services. So keeping that thing in mind, I have no other alternative to buy those goods for the time being, because I have got the demand at my own. I cannot ignore it. Rest of the war, who has spread the disease, the trade war and the rest of the things are now off the table right now. It is more of the demand, it's more of the supply side where the war is going on currently right now. And that is where the China is going to get a significant support of encashing that opportunity. Now let's come to the Gulf countries. Now Gulf countries, we know they hold the largest sovereign wealth funds. They are holder one of the largest sovereign wealth funds, although Norway is the biggest sovereign wealth fund holder. Also in that segment also, majority of the fundings are being deployed by the Gulf countries actually. So when we are talking about the Gulf countries for them, the main source of revenue is crude, which is around 80% of the receipts. The second is tourism. Both the segments are now out of the table completely. The crude prices might take till December or January to get back to the level of 50 or 60, because the demand is on the lower end right now. And it's not going to be so fast in picking up its demand, getting back to the COVID pre-phase. So the Gulf countries now have to manage their economy. In order to manage their economy, they will need money, the governments will need money. So there are two things of that part. One, they are not going to invest in other countries. The flows are not going to come so aggressively as it was happening pre-COVID phase. The second part, they are going to sell assets because they will need money in their own country. The reason behind bringing the IPO of Aramco was that they needed money. It was a billion-dollar valuation company, trillion-dollar valuation company, and they needed some money to run their economy. They needed some money for their government. And every country, whether it's Europe, US, or any other country, will be requiring money in their home country to manage their own companies, to pay checks, to pay social benefits. And please remember, if the unemployment rate in US and Europe is on the higher range, then the unemployment benefits, the social benefits, also increases. And all those benefits, don't expect that every time they are going to pay from their own money, from their own pockets. They are going to redeem assets across the globe, whether it's a gold, whether it's silver, whether it's a crude, or anything, and they are going to pay accordingly. Because they have to manage their books of accounts also. They also have to manage their physical balances also. So bailout packages, coming back to the Gulf part, bailout packages in Gulf is yet to come. There are companies who are producing crude, they are also going to bleed. They are also going to cut down on jobs. They are going to cut down on pay packages. Bonuses will be chopped. Because you cannot stop these things. This is the main difference between what has happened with the GFC and with the current phase. It's completely different. You cannot compare them at any point of time. So Gulf tourism will be low, Gulf income will be low, asset sales will happen, inflows will not be taking so aggressive speed or velocity to come back. Now coming back to India. I was just telling you about something regarding luxury goods and all those things. Well, keep the luxury good concept out of the table right now. I'm just going to speak about the middle class. There are host of salary cuts which have already started happening. If not for the full year, for the period till the lockdown, that means for the next 2 or 3 months or 4 months or 6 months. We were just in the year of a new financial year, in the beginning of the new financial year, and this is the month when a lot of decisions regarding salary packages are being taken by the corporates. So salary restructuring, pay restructuring are part of the system which cannot be ignored. The lockdown phase is now aggressively forcing these corporates to go for a restructuring of the salary, where variable component is going up and the fixed component is being reduced. Now obviously, many of the companies are doing it for 2 or 3 months, or some are doing it for new recruiters, or some who have joined 6 months before and they are going to be permanent, or they are going to be made permanent for them, or they are being made for the higher ticket size guys. A certain leeway has been given to the middle class segment, the middle segment. Now obviously, salaries cuts ranges have started between the range of 5 to 50 to 60%. Variables have started happening to 25 to 30%, with the fixed cost getting down by 40% as it brought down. So obviously the rest is in variable. And many of the corporates have, many of the people, many of the employees have started saying that whatever has been restructuring has been made, has been proposed, I will not be eligible for the variable looking at the market. So this is how the restructuring is being done. This cannot be ignored. So that is what I told you at the beginning. That हमें ये नहीं पता, we don't know what is the depth in real terms of the lockdown. We don't know. For example, Oyo, which has got around hopping around 10,000 employees, we don't know that how long Oyo will be able to bleed cash, and at what point of time they will throw away their manpower. These things are taking a toll on the economy also. So obviously, if my job is not there, or my salaries have been cut down, or my CTC has been restructured, I am obviously going to redeem my investments. I'm going to put an end to them, to the SIP inflows, all those things. The next thing, which is with the monsoon, because we are just away from, say, about how many days, I will say, 40 days from the monsoon. As I take 8th of June to be the day period of monsoon to come, 45 days or 50 days, I'm far from the monsoon. Now, if the monsoon comes, obviously, it's positive for the Indian economy. It is being expected that this year the monsoon will be very good. Now, whether it will be good or bad, we know there are flood situations which is an economic damage. So, India is not in a position to take much of the losses right now. So, healthy monsoon has got its impact. Secondly, the reason behind healthy monsoon is this: pollution has come down significantly. Post 22nd or 20th of March, the lockdown which has been made, pollution has come down, the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, the carbon monoxide has come down significantly. An healthy monsoon is good for the crop seasons, for the agri outputs, for the FMCG segments, but don't expect it or compare it with the last financial year. You will not get that growth. Because the middle class segment, where the salary cuts and job cuts are happening, they are going to cut down their budgets. So that is why I told, keep away the luxury part and just focus on the middle class segment. That is sufficient enough to understand where we are heading. Now, so monsoon impact will be in the agri and all those things, which will be positive. Right between the monsoon continues, we will be entering into the festive season, with Ganpati coming up in the month of August, and then with Navratri and all those things later in the month of October, which is coming in the H2 of FY21. But in during this monsoon phase, we will not be getting growth from construction, steel, cement, all those things, because we all know during the monsoon segment, these particular sectors are under the downward trend. You don't get a significant growth from these segments. So the only sectors which remains is the textile or the FMCG, pharma, power, agri outputs, chemicals, these segments where you will find growth, or you will find some stability over there as compared to the other ones which will be on the downward trend for the till the month of September, because until the monsoon is over, the infrastructure cannot get into a position in the larger scale. Now, there is another segment which needs to be taken into account due to this lockdown, is when the manufacturing is going to get back. Well, manufacturing getting back will take some time. It will not happen so easily. The main reason behind it is this. Obviously, I don't know the demand. Export is not going to pick up so easily, so fast as compared to the pre-COVID phase, and also in the pre-COVID phase, due to the trade war, there was a massive problem which was happening in the export market also. So after post-COVID, post-lockdown, the global demand needs to pick up so that you as a manufacturer in India can start doing the export. Now, within this export segment and the import part, India stands in a beneficial position with the low crude prices. It has already got a sufficient storage. But there will be an impact of this crude price getting into a negative on the whole global economy. That is the redemption of assets. And India cannot ignore it. We all know the Indian market is driven by the FIIs. DIIs, if I talk about the DIIs, forget about LIC and other ones. Apart from that one, SIPs inflows are getting down. Lump sum inflows are getting down. Those are not going to pick up so easily. So the impact is this, that it will take some time to create a good long-term wealth portfolio. It will not be happening so fast or so aggressively. We will be finding a delay in consumption a significant delay in consumption we will be getting, because we are all waiting on that. Obviously, once the lockdown is over, हम लोग restaurant जाना शुरू कर देंगे, हम लोग रास्ते पे घूमेंगे, we will be going to the movies, we will be going for vacations and all those things. By the time information, vacation का जो consumption season होता है, वो भी इस बार बर्बाद हो गया है. मार्च की मिडिल में जो लॉकडाउन हुआ था, उसके चक्कर में जो एंड ऑफ द ईयर में जो सेल्स जिन जिन चीजों की होती है, पर्टिकुलरली व्हाइट गुड्स इन द समर सीजन, एसी, रेफ्रिजरेटर्स, ऑल दोस थिंग्स, ये सारे खत्म हो गए. सो देयर इज अ सिग्निफिकेंट ड्रॉप इन द सेल्स ऑफ देम, नो रेवेन्यू, एंड इवन पोस्ट lockdown, that sale is not going to come back because the people are not left with the money. So the effect is going to be prolonged one. Now, India has got a lot of problems. I have been hearing in the market that a lot of people in the market is expecting the government is going to come up with a stimulus package. They have come up with 1 or 2 packages. They are doing OMOs. RBI is doing open market operations of the debt segment. They did 10,000 crore today. They are doing it in that way. But the point is this: the government has got much capacity to do a stimulus package. Now, what do you mean by a stimulus package? You want an income tax cut down, or you want a service tax, or you want a GST rate cut down, or you want some direct transfer of money. So there are a lot of things which you are expecting. So if I take on a hypothetical manner that I am going to go with and say about 5% of the GDP, I am going to go as a stimulus package, that will substantially increase my fiscal deficit. So in simple words, if the government wants growth to come up, then it needs to buy out losses. आपको लॉस बाई करना पड़ेगा, आपको फिजिकल डेफिसिट बाई करना पड़ेगा, आपको ये बोलना पड़ेगा that okay fine, I'm happy with it 4.5 to 5% of physical deficit in order to get balance my economy. In that segment also, I don't find that even after a stimulus package comes up in various formats, growth will start picking up within a very short span of time. You have to give time, because the lockdown has been a severe lockdown. The entire manufacturing is shut down. We don't know which plant and machineries are damaged. We don't know what is the depth of the losses of the goods which are stocked in the godown. So there are many things which is going on. Now coming to the another part of the Indian economy, housing finance companies, NBFCs, we all know there was a liquidity crisis which was going on for a long time, and that liquidity crisis will continue in a more severe way, because what is being expected from this job cuts and salary cuts and these bonus cut downs and all those things, retail loans will be under a question mark. You cannot ignore that part, because if I doesn't have my job, how will I service my loan? And one side I have to service my loan, on the other side I have to manage the consumption. So that's how the equation comes up over there. Bank deposits, not much is going to grow. People need cash right now. Corporates may not be interested in investment right now. They need to manage their liquidity. If they are busy cutting down fixed costs, salaries, other things, they are not going to go back and do an investment right at the moment. They will need cash for their own consumption, for buying out the losses. Now in the housing finance companies, NBFC space, there are around 45% of the debt papers which are going to come up for rollover in the next 2 to 3 months. Now there is a significant question mark how they are going to get rollover, who are going to buy them when the ratings are under question mark. Now due to this lockdown, due to this corporate losses, fixed cost cut down, managing a balance sheet, managing of loan books, managing the debt to equity ratio, debt turnover ratio, all these things will create pressure on the ratings. So there's nothing to get surprised if there is a couple of shocks which comes up post lockdown, that these companies' ratings are being downgraded. They are a part of the game. They will come down. You cannot ignore them. So that particular downgrading will have its own impact on the market at that point of time. So what I am trying to tell you over here is this, that those who are thinking that once the lockdown is over and once the things are started out within a month's time, the market will bounce back, everything will be rosy. I pray to the God the similar thing happens. My prayer is always in favor of that one, because I am also part of the economy. But it doesn't seem like that kind of thing is going to happen in that way. It doesn't seem. So obviously liquidity stress will be there. Retail loans default cannot be ignored. Corporate loans moratorium has been given. But the biggest question is this: will a 3 month moratorium will be sufficient, or it does need an extension of 6 months more? You cannot ignore it, because we don't know till now when the tire is going to meet the road. Now coming back to the sectors part, many of the sectors will take a considerable amount of time in getting back into the shape. In fact, I was making a list of the same things, where the sectors I have classified into an impact. The impact has been classified into 3 terms: moderate, severe, and high. High is for more than 1 year, moderate is less than 6 years or 6 months, and severe is 7 to 12 months. And the recovery period has been classified into an short term, medium term, and long term accordingly. So if I talk about pharma, I find it moderate, because you will find more people getting into healthy foods, getting into more health checkups, getting to the doctors frequently, maintaining a lot of cleanliness. So that segment is going to find a significant demand going ahead. Non-food items, that means the white items, the white goods, sorry, not much is expected right now, because we are just passing out the good times right now, which is actually the time when people buy a Blue Star AC or a Whirlpool or a refrigerator, or when they buy some new sofas, or they buy some new household things, or they go for foreign visits and all those things. We are just going through that phase when it's lockdown, and that time frame and that consumption is wasted. So the demand is also gone, the consumption is also gone, the impact to the company is a loss. Next time it's going to be moderate, because obviously people will be buying clothes. Bina kapdon ka to chalega nahi, so they will be buying it, but not to that level which is expected. Logistics will find a significant growth once the supply side picks up. Now obviously manufacturing nahi hoga to supply kis cheez ka hoga. It is true, but it will take some time. It will take a 6 months to 1 year's time to get the logistics segment back into the phase of the pre-COVID era. Metals, moderate. It will take more than 6 months to 12 months to get back into the same, because until there's a demand in the infrastructure, there's a demand in the construction space. Steel, cements, these things will not come up. Media and entertainment, you will find a growth. You will find a growth because of it, if not in the H1, majority in the H2, because there are a lot of things which are being planned or deferred in the H2. So those things will come up. Banking, bit of question mark, because NPA, from which side the NPA will be coming, whether it will be corporate NPA or a retail loan NPA at IC phase. We don't know what kind of losses they have to burn. What are the companies who are going to default? Which are the companies who will be, even after going for a 3 month moratorium, will need more support, more restructuring of loans? All those things puts a significant question mark on the banking industry, and it will be in a volatile phase. Coming back to the micro and small and medium enterprise segment of the NBFC, micro NBFCs, they are going to be in a slowdown phase. Microcredit loan segment is going to be under a doldrum because it will take a significant of time to get back into the pre-COVID phase. And when the unskilled labor, जो अर्बन का जो अनस्किल्ड लेबर था, आज के डेट में वो पूरा रूरल इंडिया में बैठा हुआ है. वो तभी अर्बन इंडिया में आके डिमांड क्रिएट करेगा जब उसका मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, जब उसका फैक्ट्री ओपन होगा. अब वो फैक्ट्री ओपन होने के बाद भी 50 लेबर की जगह में आज के डेट में बोले मुझे 20 लेबर से काम होगा. So that remaining 30 people may not be required in the system. So they are not going to come up from the village, and equivalent the consumption is not going to pick up. The only benefit which can happen is the rural consumption can pick up. The rural agri segment needs support from the government because that is where the unskilled labor is lying over there. So they are sitting over there. So that needs a significant support from the government needs. Rest, once the monsoon is healthy enough, once the settling down happens, we will get more clarity. But in between, one thing I'd like to say, one more thing. Those who are thinking that as soon as the lockdown gets open, we will be back on the street. Well, coronavirus is a disease which was controlled by China, which is having an equivalent population like India, by through only one mechanism. उसने एक individual city को, Wuhan city को block कर दिया था. It just cutted that particular city from the rest of the cities of China. India is no longer in that position. If tomorrow, for example, Uttar Pradesh says that I remove the lockdown, but Maharashtra says that I keep the lockdown, so then that person cannot enter into this state. Because from which state to which state the disease will spread, we don't know anything about that. We don't have any clarity regarding that. So the point is this: even a partial lockdown is being removed, that will not be sufficient enough to get back into a pre-COVID phase. You have to invest time. Because GFC took considerable amount of time to get back. Being a developed economy, Indian economy gradually came out and was strong enough. It was unscratched at that point of time. But with this coronavirus, the current scenario, India is not unscratched. It is very much into doldrums with the lockdown phase. One of the things which we will be witnessing in the market is, no doubt, is volatility will be there. But one of the most important things which we will be looking forward is, what are the forward outlook guidelines or guidance by the corporates who are going to come up with their results? Because those guidelines, those guidance will help access how long they are projecting a slowdown or an impact on the revenue. So that is the thing which is going to happen over there. Now obviously within these segments, we will be getting a lot of volatility in the market. There will be short-term triggers also going the markets up, because when you will be coming up with the stimulus package stories and all those things, which does not have got a clarity what kind of stimulus they are going to come and how much will be the last stimulus, or you will need more stimulus. So that is also a question mark. Now another one question which I have been receiving from all my friends and channel partners and everyone: is this the bottom of the market? Please don't try to predict the bottom of the market. Those corporate analysts, research analysts, fund managers, whoever told at the level of 12,500, when the market came down to the level of 11,000, they said, invest. We have considerable valuation has come down. This is the best time to invest. You invested your hard purpose of money, your hard earned money. The next day, the market came down to 10,000 level. you found again those fund managers, again those people coming back and telling, please invest. This is the cheapest valuation of the market. And you start doing your second level of investment. And after a week, you again find out the market has come down to the level of 9,000. And when the market comes down to the level of 8,000, you don't have a penny in your pocket. And you don't know where the market bottom is. Now a question will come, and immediately an answer will come. The question is, sir, what should I do? I am accumulating. The answer will be, keep buying at every fall. But there is one bracket which needs to be added, provided I have the money. If I don't have the liquidity to invest, where am I going to invest? So the question is this, the answer and the question and the answer is this. Don't try to predict the market bottom. If you're a long-term investor, invest for the long term. Forget about the market valuations. Forget about where the markets are coming down. If my purpose is that I am going to hold quality mutual funds, quality stocks, quality investments, then I can invest them at any level, and I can hold them with a period of 5 years or 10 years down the line. But if my objective is, which is mostly the common objective of each and every investor, शॉर्ट टर्म में कुछ पैसा बना लेते हैं ना, मार्केट बहुत ज्यादा गिर गया है, 10%, 15%, 20% बना लेते हैं. For them the advice is this, please, I cannot advise you. At least Indranil cannot advise you. Because there is no sorry, excuse me. So there is no magic ball to gaze out what is the bottom of the market. You invest for the long term, keeping your goals in mind. Now for those who are going to ask that my existing investment has come down by 50%, 80%, it is getting into a negative zone. Well, there are two things to look into the matter. One was this, there is a subject called rebalancing. When your portfolio was in generating good revenue, and if it has achieved your objective, your goal of investment, did you went for a rebalancing, or you stayed with your best friend, greed of holding it for a long time? तो और बन रहा है, और बन जाने दीजिए, 25% रिटर्न बन गया है, 35% बन जाए, I will hold it. And due to that hold, you have come down to the current situation of the phase. So rebalancing, if you haven't done the rebalancing, no advisor will advise you to book losses. So stay where you are. Stop looking at the portfolio every day. Focus on some other aspects of the life. If you have got purpose to invest, you can do an investment in a staggered way. Forget about predicting the market, bottoming of the market. Forget about getting tips about quality stocks and everything, because आज के डेट में ना आपको टिप चाहिए ना कुछ चाहिए. लास्ट 2 साल में जो भी चीज स्टॉक में था वो सारे आज डिस्काउंटेड प्राइस में अवेलेबल है. So that is the plain vanilla suggestion which will come up. Be ready for a more rough ride to come up. The economy currently is under a significant loss accumulation phase, and we don't know what is the value of that loss which is going to come up. No fund manager, no analyst can predict that US का 20% unemployment होगा या 25%. यूरोप का कौन सा कंट्री कल बिकने के लिए आ जाएगा, कौन नहीं आएगा. चाइना की इकोनॉमी से कंपनीज निकल के इंडिया में इन्वेस्टमेंट करेंगे क्या नहीं करेंगे वो हमें नहीं पता. सो हमें नेगेटिविज्म के साथ रहना है, चलना भी है, और उसके बीच में हमें पॉजिटिव्स भी ढूंढना है। और पॉजिटिव्स हमें ढूंढना इस तरीके से है कि आज का जो मार्केट का जो वैल्यूएशन है, जो करेक्शन है, जहां पे जो प्राइस आ गया है, ये एक अपॉर्चुनिटी है आने वाले 5 साल या 10 साल में एक अच्छा पोर्टफोलियो बनाने के लिए। 2008, 2011-12, उसके बाद हम लोगों ने 2017 का भी गेम देखा है मार्केट में पोस्ट डिमोनेटाइजेशन। फिर उसके बाद भी हम लोगों ने मार्केट गिरते हुए देखे और फिर से आज। इन सारी चीजों में एक चीज कॉमन है, आफ्टर स्टीप फॉल इट हैज कम बैक। नाउ अनदर क्वेश्चन व्हिच विल कम आउट इन योर माइंड, इंडिया वी शेप होगा, यू शेप रिकवरी होगा या डब्ल्यू होगा? अल्फाबेट के चक्कर में मत पड़िए। बिजनेस किस तरीके से चल रहा है, आपकी नेबर की जॉब है क्या नहीं है, आपकी नेबर की सैलरी कट कितनी हुई है, आपकी फ्रेंड सर्कल के अंदर में सैलरी कट कितनी हुई है, उसी चीज से आपको आइडिया आ जाएगा कि कौन सा सेक्टर, कौन सा कंपनी, कौन सा इंडस्ट्री कहां किस तरीके से चल रहा है। आपको किसी फंड मैनेजर की किसी भी प्रवचन सुनने की दरकार नहीं है। सॉरी टू यूज दिस वर्ड्स, but the point is this, you apply your common sense, you will get lot of the informations accordingly. Fixed deposit, bank fixed deposit, corporate fixed deposit, जितने भी फिक्स डिपॉजिट्स है, सारे फिक्स डिपॉजिट्स में इंटरेस्ट रेट नीचे आ गए। आज के डेट में मेरे लिए सबसे बड़ी चिंता की कारण उन लोगों के लिए है जो लोग सीनियर सिटीजन है, जिनकी पूरी इनकम डिपेंडेंट है ऑन फिक्स डिपॉजिट के ऊपर। बिकॉज बैंक का सूद भी घट गया है, नया एफडी कर नहीं सकते, उसमें सूद कम मिलेगा। कॉर्पोरेट एफडीज की भी हालत ठीक नहीं है। सो पोस्ट ऑफिस की सेविंग्स की इंटरेस्ट रेट घट रही है। नाउ एक 62, 65, 68 उम्र के बंदे को अब ये तो मैं बोल नहीं सकता कि आप 100% इक्विटी में इन्वेस्टमेंट कर दो। सो दैट इज द सेगमेंट व्हिच नीड्स टू बी थॉट एंड कैटर्ड अबाउट। जितना लॉकडाउन चलेगा उतना ज्यादा इंडियन इकोनॉमी को प्रॉब्लम होगी। गवर्नमेंट जो रिपीटेडली बोले जा रहा है आप लोगों को घर पे रहने के लिए, उसकी वजह ये है कि अगर आप घर पे नहीं रहोगे, बाहर घूमते रहोगे, डिजीज फैल जाएगा, आपको इंपैक्ट हो जाएगा। तो आपके इंपैक्ट होने से कितने लोगों को फैला वो बात की बात है, लॉकडाउन एक्सटेंड हो जाएगा। दैट इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग। सो कमिंग बैक, नाउ आई विल डू द कंक्लूजन बिफोर आई ओपन द फ्लोर फॉर क्वेश्चन आंसर। सो यूएस, यूरोप, गल्फ, क्रूड, चाइना, ऑल दिस इकोनॉमीज एक वेरिएशन फेज में है। टूरिज्म, एयरलाइंस, कंजम्पशन, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, कैपिटल गुड्स इक्वली बराबर हिस्से में है। इंडिया में सर्विस इंडस्ट्री के ऊपर भी प्रॉब्लम है, बिकॉज अगर सर्विस इंडस्ट्री अगर अपने पैर पे खड़ा नहीं हो पाया, सो इन दैट केस जीडीपी को, इंडियन जीडीपी का 60% कंट्रीब्यूशन आता है फ्रॉम द सर्विस इंडस्ट्री, द रेस्ट इज फ्रॉम मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एंड एग्री। उसके चलते इंडिया की इंपैक्ट ऑन द जीडीपी विल बी सिग्निफिकेंट। मुझे जीडीपी के नंबर से कुछ नहीं करना है। आई एम नॉट ओवर हियर टू प्रेडिक्ट जीडीपी विल गो बाय 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%. I am over here to calculate how the common man gets back into his old salary structure and how the job market behaves accordingly. So now I open the floor for question answer.